the individual and collective efforts. If you missed the book event last night with Camilo and his book, you missed a tremendous event. There won't be a repeat performance unless you corner him and get him to give you a private showing, but it was well worth every second. It was standing room only, and I was hopeful that maybe it was pouring out onto the sidewalks even, because it was a tremendous message. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more from him, not only today, but in the future, because he's out on a book tour, and it should sell millions and millions and millions of copies.
I would only have a brief comment. Thank you, Colonel, for that introduction, and thank you all for being here. Ultimately, our purpose is very clearly stated that we want peace, but peace cannot come without implies many things that we need to work. The Veteran Convention is a great place to come and to hear from people who have actually been there, where things are happening, and to actually get a real story so that we can start organizing or continue to organize to make things happen. 2 years ago, from the International Peace Conference came Cindy Sheehan, who went to this stage outside of Crawford, and started a movement, of immense repercussions, and at the VFP conference with the support of veterans and military families, and everyone who was participating in the conference. Last year, the VFP conference was a festival of people go public. We had Lieutenant Aaron Watala give an incredible statement on his position, and which I believe was an indictment. And we had Clausen also go public, for all prisoners of conscience. And it's become a tradition to become, these sources of incredible reach that face and that generate from these very foreign nations that are public. So thank you all for being here, and I think we're going to take some.
And I want to introduce a few people that are here just very briefly, so as kind of a preview of what is going to be going on the rest of this weekend.
Hi, my name is Elaine Johnson, and my son Darius Janis was killed November 2nd, 2003, when the Chinook helicopter went down, killing 16 soldiers. My son was one of the 16, and we traced it back. So he was, before the helicopter was shot down, it was 366 soldiers had, died before the helicopter went down. So I always say my son was number 367 because they say the missile hit from the side which my son was sitting on. And I thank the Veterans for Peace for inviting me. I always thank Nancy and Charley for putting me out here to tell my story. But 3 people must be didn't get the invitation. I'm still looking for 3 very important people that should be here. Anybody know who I'm talking about? I met one personally because he sent for me. Anybody else still know who I'm talking about?
George and Dick. George.
The 3 clowns?
There you go. They need to be here. Agree? But he don't want no more parts. He found out I was on the list, He don't want no more parts of me. But what I gotta say is that it is time to bring the troops home. I have been following these candidates around, listening to all of them, the Democratic and Republican. So I said, you know what? I'm a Gold Star mother. I can run the country and get all the Gold Star mothers in, we bring the troops home, then turn it back over to whoever want to run the country. How y'all say that?
Hi, I'm Nancy Lessin, and I are co-founders of Military Families Speak Out, an organization that began in the fall of 2002 when the drumbeats for war in Iraq were deafening, and our son was on a transport ship, United States Marine Corps, on his way over. And we noticed that everyone saying, I go to war, we weren't going anywhere. It was our loved ones who were going to be used in a war that should never have happened. So we began an organization of military families with 2 families. We are now over 1,600 military families. In Puerto Rico, American Samoa, and bases around the world. And I want to thank Veterans for Peace for being there for us, for teaching us what you taught us. We knew that the only happening right now in Iraq is to end the occupation, bring our troops home now, and take care of them when they get here.
Just very quickly, I want to add a couple things. First, as Nancy was saying, a friend of ours once said that exit isn't a strategy, it's a command. And that's the command that we want to hear. The military will get our troops out if they're told to do that. The problem is not the military, it's the politicians, Republicans and Democrats, because the Democrats now have the power. They could stop this war tomorrow if they wanted to, and they're not acting on that. Second thing I want to say is, you know, we're very proud to be here with Elaine. Elaine is the person who's known as the Elaine Johnson problem around the White House. And, we're very proud of that. We just flew in from Boston. We just came from New England. New England is where President Bush is now vacationing on the coast of Maine because, you know, it's hard work to be president. And so we asked to take some time off. It's very interesting to hear politicians in the United States complain about the Iraqi cabinet, the Iraqi parliament taking time off as they are heading out for their recess. And finally, we're excited to be here in St. Louis in the heartland and we think this is the appropriate place for Veterans for Peace to be, because around this country and in the heartland, people are saying this war has to stop. The vast majority of members that have joined us, and there's been several hundred over the last several months, have been wives on bases who are saying, I'm sick of this, this has to end, I've been against it for a long time, but now I'm going to speak out. Thank you very much.
My name's Wright. I was in the military 29 years, 13 on active duty and 16 in the reserves. I was also a U.S. diplomat and was one of 3 diplomats who resigned in opposition to the war in Iraq back in March of 2003. And since then, I've been very lucky to be included in groups like you all, in Veterans for Peace. Just one quick little edit of what Charley said. Actually, the President of the United States today is in, and you will be glad to hear, in Camp Casey chapter at Crawford, Texas, has people in the ditches right now, Bush's ranch. And they will be there until George Bush leaves to go up to Ottawa and Buckport, where many of you all remain to give the President of the United States a big welcome when he gets to Kennebunkport. I myself am going to Ottawa to make sure there are Americans in Canada to George Bush. We want this war ended, and we want it ended now. But one of the things that Camilo said, there's something that always happens here. One of the things that we want to make sure of is that the treatment of veterans is really well considered by this organization of veterans. We know how many troops are coming back with SD. We know what's happening to them, that they're not getting the proper treatment when they get back there. But one of the lesser known things is what happens to a certain category of soldiers that we have, and those are women soldiers. And we, the Women's Caucus of VFP, will be meeting every single day. And on Friday, we'll be having a press conference ourselves on the whole issue of sexual assault and rape of women and men in the military. Right now, the statistics are running that 1 in 3 women that join the military will be sexually assaulted or raped. And we think this is a statistic that, of course, has to change. Colonel Karpinski, in some of her testimony and other groups have said that women in Iraq have such fear of being assaulted or raped. They are dying because they are not drinking water late in the afternoon, because one of the places that they get raped is on the way to the latrines. Statistics are there. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted or raped while they are in the military. And that is a statistic that we, as veterans, have to change.